The body has been in the heat for less than a day, and time is already working against you. Before prayers, amulets, or a painted coffin can promise eternity, a team of specialists must slow decay with water, cloth, mineral salts, oils, resins, and disciplined hands. You are the newest apprentice in a plausible New Kingdom workshop near Thebes. There are no gloves, no refrigeration, no sealed instruments, and no modern barrier between your skin and the work. The exact methods of Egyptian mummification changed across centuries, regions, and social rank. No complete Egyptian embalming manual survives. What historians know comes from preserved bodies, tools, containers, embalming deposits, funerary art, and later written descriptions. Those later accounts often describe a process lasting about 70 days. That number is useful, but it is not a universal stopwatch. Your real challenge is simpler. Preserve the body before moisture, heat, contamination, fatigue, or one careless movement destroys the result. The workshop is practical rather than monumental. Pale plastered walls, reed mats, low wooden tables, clay vessels, linen bundles, storage jars, and a courtyard flooded with desert light. Senior embalmers control the delicate procedures. Assistants wash, lift, pack, sort, heat, carry, and wrap. Priestly specialists oversee words and ritual actions that give the work religious meaning. Every role overlaps, but responsibility is not equal. As the apprentice, you touch almost everything while deciding almost nothing. The first danger is not supernatural. It is heat. Warm tissue changes quickly, so washing and preparation must begin without delay. Water is carried and stored by hand. Cloth must be separated by purpose. Tools must remain where experienced workers expect them. The body is heavy, awkward, and still recognizably human. Two workers support the shoulders and legs while another corrects the position. A poor lift can injure a back, overturn a vessel, or damage the person the family entrusted to the workshop. Purification is both ritual and practical cleaning. Damp linen passes across the body while bowls and jars are kept close enough to use, but far enough away to avoid being struck. Sweat runs into your eyes. Dust clings to wet skin. Odors become stronger as the room warms. The psychological test begins before the most difficult procedures. Can you remain steady beside the dead, listen to instructions, and move without sudden hesitation? Panic is dangerous, but so is pretending you are not affected. A narrow metal instrument may be used near the head. Surviving mummies show that embalmers often remove the brain through the nasal passage. Although technique varied and not every body received identical treatment. The face must be protected because it will remain central to recognition and funerary presentation. The senior embalmer works behind folded linen while assistants support the head and receive moisture with absorbent cloth. You see only the tools, the hands, and the concentration required to keep pressure controlled. Used linen cannot be confused with fresh supplies. A damp cloth placed in the wrong basket wastes material and spreads unwanted moisture through the workspace. Then comes the incision, commonly made on the left side of the torso in many elite New Kingdom preparations. The opening may be small, but it creates several risks at once. A slipping blade can damage the body. The same blade can cut the living hand that passes it. With no modern sterilization, even a minor wound beside organic material and mineral dust is a serious problem. The lungs, liver, stomach, and intestines were commonly removed and treated separately, but their final placement changed over time. In some periods, they entered canopic containers. In others, treated packages could be returned to the body. The heart usually received special treatment because Egyptian belief connected it with identity, memory, and judgment. Procedures were not mechanically identical, which means a responsible reconstruction must show variation rather than one rigid formula presented as universal fact. Organization now becomes a survival skill. Linen packages, cords, containers, lids, and markers must remain associated with the correct individual. In later New Kingdom practice, the four protective sons of Horus became linked with distinctive canopic forms. A misplaced bundle is not merely an untidy mistake. It is a professional and ritual failure that may be discovered only after the body has been sealed beneath layers of cloth. You learn to check before passing, check before closing, and check again before moving anything. The internal spaces are cleaned and packed with absorbent materials. Moisture hidden deep inside could undermine weeks of drying beneath a perfect-looking surface. Linen, plant material, and other packing substances help manage fluids and support shape, but the exact recipe varied. The team works behind screens and folds of cloth, keeping the process non-public and controlled. Your hands move bowls, pads, and tools in a sequence you must remember even when the room is hot and your concentration is fading. Before the body is covered, alignment is checked from head to feet. Once drying begins, corrections become harder. The workshop's decisive resource is natron, a naturally occurring mineral mixture gathered from Egyptian desert deposits. It is not ordinary table salt. Natron draws moisture from tissue and helps create conditions less favorable to decay. Bags and jars must remain dry. A cracked vessel or a careless spill can waste material that required transport, storage, and planning long before the body arrived. The body is surrounded and packed with natron until its human form becomes a pale outline beneath the mineral. Small linen bags can carry natron into spaces the outer layer cannot reach. Drying only the surface would leave moisture trapped within. As the mineral absorbs water, some areas darken and clump. Those damp pockets must be found, removed, and replaced. There is no electric sensor, humidity display, or laboratory reading. Experience, touch, appearance, and repeated inspection guide every decision. Natron also works on you. Fine mineral dust settles into the lines of your fingers. Skin becomes rough, tight, and painfully dry. Existing cracks sting when you reach for water or resin. Spilled crystals make the floor unstable beneath leather sandals. Heavy storage jars must pass through narrow doorways without striking the wall or another worker. The danger is rarely one dramatic accident. It is a chain of small failures, tired hands, a blocked path, a damaged jar, a wet patch, a moment of inattention. The long drying stage is not empty waiting. Supplies are counted. Damp material is replaced. Linen is torn into different widths. Jars are checked for moisture. The body loses water, mass, and flexibility while light moves across the same walls day after day. Senior embalmers judge when the remains are sufficiently dry, but surviving mummies show that results were not always perfect. Preservation depended on technique, environment, resources, and the body itself. Even experts worked within limits. While the mineral does its work, the wrapping materials become their own logistical problem. Long bands, narrow strips, Pads, cords, and folded sheets must be prepared in advance. Linen is valuable and labor-intensive. It may come from fresh cloth, household textiles, or reused garments, depending on the burial. The strips must stay dry, clean enough for their purpose, and organized by size. Reaching the wrapping stage without the correct widths would force hurried cutting beside a body that has become increasingly fragile. Oils and resins add another hazard. Clay vessels hold sticky substances used to anoint, scent, seal, or strengthen different parts of the preparation. Some resin must be warmed to flow. A small charcoal brazier now sits in a room filled with dry linen. Too little heat leaves the resin difficult to spread. Too much heat increases fumes, burns, and fire risk. You keep the doorway open, dry cloth away from the flame, and a lid ready to cover the bowl. When the natron is removed, the transformation is unmistakable. The body is lighter, rigid, and vulnerable to pressure. A limb that once bent naturally must now be supported along its length. The face and torso may need careful packing to restore a recognizable outline. A force that would have been harmless before drying can now crack, flatten, or distort fragile structures. The team changes from aggressive moisture removal to delicate reconstruction, and your grip must change with it. Oils condition surfaces while resins help bind and seal, but both attract dust and make hands difficult to clean. Wrapping begins in controlled sections before larger bands unite the body into one stable form. Fingers and toes may receive individual attention in elite burials, demanding repetitive precision from already exhausted workers. Small amulets can be placed between layers according to status, period, and ritual plan. Their position must be confirmed before the next band hides them permanently. Linen tension is a constant decision. Too loose, and the layers shift. Too tight, and fragile material beneath can be crushed or deformed. Two workers maintain even pressure while another aligns the edge. A priestly supervisor may interrupt for words or placement. Practical action and ritual timing must remain synchronized. The closer the work comes to completion, the more dangerous fatigue becomes. After weeks of repetition, the final mistake is often the easiest one to make. The completed mummy is lifted toward its coffin or protective enclosure. The design depends on wealth, period, and local practice. Not every burial resembles a royal tomb. The workers support the wrapped form at several points, move through a narrow doorway, and avoid striking the decorated surfaces prepared by other specialists. Only after the body leaves can the workshop measure what remains. Empty natron sacks, resin-stained tools, linen fragments, broken pottery, used containers, and ritual refuse. Archaeological embalming deposits preserve exactly this kind of evidence. The cache associated with Tutankhamun included natron, linen, pottery, and other materials left from funerary preparation near the Valley of the Kings. Such finds remind us that mummification was not only belief. It was also supply management, skilled labor, heat control, heavy lifting, repetitive handwork, and constant material judgment. The finished mummy hides the workshop that made it possible. By the end, survival does not mean escaping a collapsing tomb or fighting an imaginary curse. It means enduring the heat, the odors, the dust, the sharp tools, the resin fumes, the ritual pressure, and the slow erosion of concentration. Could you keep every object dry, every movement controlled, and every layer correct long enough to complete the final wrap?